Hey everyone, welcome to Movement Revolution. I am Coach Eric. I will be your coach today for today's Essentials class. This is an essential exercise to help people specifically with neurological conditions manage everyday life a little bit better. Today's topic is going to be ankle stability, range of motion. That's going to help you improve balance, strength. The first thing that hits the ground when we have to take a step is our feet. So that ankle joint is a really important one to make sure that we have good mobility and good strength and stability. So all of today's exercises will be geared to help address those needs. As you can see, I'm in my bare feet. I think it's really important for you to join me with no shoes or socks on, as long as your ankles are stable enough to stand to do so. All right. The reason why that's important is because we have a lot of proprioceptors or nerve endings in our feet that help us know where our body is in space. We also have the foot is comprised and the ankle is comprised of a lot of really small muscles that in some shoes that have a really thick heel, it's a little bit harder to activate those muscles. The shoes kind of do some of the work stabilizing our ankle and the bottom of our feet for us. So that's the reason why I'm going to ask you to take your shoes and socks off. If you have your socks on, it might be a little too slippery if you're doing this on a hardwood or tile floor. So shoes and socks off. What we're going to need for today's class is going to be a stretching strap, a belt. I have a gait belt that I'm going to be using here to help do some exercise stretches. Some of the exercises will be done from a step. So if you have an aerobic step like the one I have over here, that will work perfectly. I think it's going to be more beneficial if you have something to hold on to while you're on that step, or just use a stair at your house. The other thing that we're going to be using is I have a dowel here, a broomstick. It's going to be a little more unstable, but if you do have trouble with balance or have difficulty standing on one foot, the back of a very sturdy chair, a countertop, or something sturdy to hold on to is going to be really important. Okay, we don't want to compromise balance with any of these exercises. All of these exercises are meant to build the stability of your ankle itself. So we don't want to really treat these as like, I'm going to really challenge my balance. We're just looking to strengthen those muscles. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be starting in your chair. I'm going to go through some seated exercises, and all of the exercises that I do today are going to be kind of progressive from more basic or easier seated exercises, still very beneficial, but working our way up into standing more complex positions. So let's have a seat in your chair with your posture up nice and tall. We want to be positioned at the front of that chair so we can do some active stretching exercises for our calf, so or for your feet. I'm going to take that strap or a belt or a towel, whatever you have. A sheet works as well. And we're just going to do some lower body range of motion exercises, specifically in the ankle. So what you're going to do is wrap that strap right on the ball of your foot, or kind of right underneath the ball of your foot. Fully extend that leg out. So we want that leg to be nice and straight. We want your posture to be pretty tall. We don't want you to be pulling on that band so you're leaning too far forward. Sit up nice and tall in your chair and just pull up on the toes. Okay, and where do you feel that stretch? Where should you feel that stretch? Definitely the back of the calf, the lower leg, right around here is where we want to feel that stretch. So all of these stretches, if you feel like one side is a little bit tighter than the other, focus on the more tight side. But general rule is to hold each one of these for 3 to 5 deep breaths. Okay. Every exhale, you can pull up a little bit stronger on that ankle. I'm just going to be going through one set of all of these exercises. These are things you can build into your daily routine. If you have a difficult time with your balance, let's switch feet. These are great exercises for you to do every single day. All right. If balance is one of the things you struggle with the most, or you tend to roll your ankle, if you're recovering from stroke and you have one hemiparetic side that's a little bit tighter than the other, or a little bit weaker than the other, really important to try to do these ankle mobility and strengthening exercises every single day. All right. Again, it's the first thing that hits the ground when you go to take a step. So we want to make sure those joints are nice and stable. Okay. Posture's up nice and tall. I did switch my feet, so if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and do that. Make sure we're maintaining a nice tall posture in your chair. All right. And one other thing with the feet and working on ankle stability is building stability in your ankle will also help you build better stability and balance all the way up the chain from your ankle all the way up through your hip, and even your posture. So that ankle joint is, again, very, very, very important. All right, so that's a stretch, just to stretch out the back of your calf. Now we can put that belt off to the side, and let's work on some ankle range of motion exercises. So basically, you want your feet right firmly on the ground underneath you, about hip width apart. We're going to raise your heels up, drop them back down, and then lift your toes up and drop them back down. And for some people, this might be really difficult, particularly lifting your toe. A lot of times if that foot kind of drags as you go to take a step, and you don't have a brace on your foot, that toe is going to catch first, right? And that is a lack of strength in your anterior tibialis, in the front side of your shin. So this movement, picking those toes up, will help strengthen and mobilize that joint a little bit better. So this is just to get and kind of assess how much range of motion you have in your ankle. All right. Sometimes our clients with Parkinson's, that one leg will drop, will kind of drag back a little bit, not kick through as high. Or if you're walking, that foot kind of catches, you're heavy on your toes. Strengthening all of these muscles will help you lift that foot up with a little more confidence, a little more routinely, especially if you can do these every day. Okay, so that's just up and down. Now I want you to extend your right leg out. You can lift that leg up if you want to, but that's too tiring. You can always relax it down on the floor. We're going to do ankle circles all the way around. I'm going in a clockwise position here. Okay, so just move your foot like a handle or an arm on the clock, going around maybe 10 times in each direction. And for most of the exercises we do today, we're going to go through, again, one set, 8 to 12 repetitions of each. Okay. Now we're going to go in a reverse direction. So go counterclockwise. And again, this is just to kind of get those ankles more mobile as we go into more strengthening. We want to improve mobility before we improve strength and stability. So if you notice, you have a little bit more difficult time with any of these movements on one side, really important to, if you feel like it's tighter, really important to address that side and get that ankle more mobile before we build some of that strength and stability. Sometimes that goes hand in hand, but not always. Now let's switch legs. Again, I'm going to start going in the clockwise position. And no matter if you have a neurological condition or not, or just have trouble with balance, okay, I even notice, and we all have these asymmetries in our body. So I notice that left foot is just a little bit more awkward, a little harder to move than my right. Okay. And you're always going to notice those different imbalances. Let's go one more around here, and then we're going to go counterclockwise. Okay. Lifting that toe up as high as you can as you pull up, and then pushing down as far as you can, like you're pushing on a gas pedal as you rotate down toward the floor. Okay. One additional exercise that you could do similar to this is the ABCs. And this is just for kind of ankle mobility and range of motion. So if you had an ankle injury and you want to increase range of motion in that ankle, an active range, just do the ABCs with your feet. So you're going to lift up and then down and across. That is A, and then down B, C, so on and so forth. Okay, do that with both feet. And that'll be a great thing to kind of help wake up the ankles in the morning. All right. So that's just some good general ankle mobility exercises. Now, we're going to go to some standing calf raises. If you want it or need to stay seated, that seated calf raise is just lifting the heels up, and then a toe raise is lifting those toes up. I'll kind of explain how we're going to do that here as we go. But when you're standing, if you can do the same, you need some help with some stability, hold on to a pole like I have here, or use a countertop, okay? Because again, we want to focus on the strength on this one, not the balance. We don't want to worry about our stability. Okay, if you have a walker, great thing to hold on to as well. All right, so we're going to raise up onto your toes. Okay, you want to hold it as long, well, not as long as you can, but for a good 8-second count at least on every single repetition. Okay, the muscles of your ankle, and particularly your Achilles tendon, which is on the back of your ankle. Okay, let's go up, hold it there, keep that posture nice and tall. If you feel like you're falling forward, okay, that means you're probably doing a little bit of this. Okay, that turns off your glutes and it turns off your abdominals. So pick that posture up nice and tall. There's number 2. We're gonna go for 8 of these all the way up. Hold it. So the Achilles tendon is a really elastic piece of connective tissue in the back of your leg. And if you just go if you go really quick, it's like a rubber band just stretching. You're never building the strength around the muscles itself. Okay, let's lift all the way up, nice and tall. I think this is number 4. Really, really tall. Let's go back down and back up. That's number 5. Very good. And back down. And 6, all the way up, nice and tall. Again, really long hold. It's going to feel like a long repetition. It's going to feel like a long hold. Those calves should be burning. That's what we want. Okay. Here's 7. And again, you could do this standing just off the ground is good enough. You could also do it off the stair to get a little more active range of motion. You can do this off a stair. I'll show you what that looks like here really quickly. So next time if you want to come around and do it, you can do that. You can drop those ankles down and then lift up nice and tall like so. All right. So that works the back side of your ankle. Okay, so your calf muscle right back here. Now we want to work the front side. So we want to raise your toes up. Okay. Hold it and then back down. Now that anterior tibialis, the muscle on the front side of your shin, is what helps you lift your toes. Let's lift up, hold it up, and back down. Again, you can do this seated if it's too hard standing. This does require a little bit of balance, so make sure that you're holding on to something. And holding on to something will honestly help you kind of hold those positions as long as you need to. Very good. Number 3, I'm going to show you from this angle how high you want them. Just lift those toes as high as you can. If one side's a little bit harder than the other, you can always isolate one side, but commonly if you're doing both feet at the same time, even if one leg is stronger than the other, the stronger foot and doing the repetition on the stronger side will help strengthen the other side as well. Okay, let's lift all the way up and back down. Just 2 more of these, all the way up and down. 1 more time and up and back down. Nice job. All right, I'm going to put my dowel off to the side here. Now I'm going to be using kind of the length of this room. It's not all that big. You don't need a ton of space. I would say the length of my room is about the length of a common countertop that someone might have at home. So that is certainly something that you could use to hold on to and do this exercise. But ankle mobility and ankle stability is great, but we always need it when we're going to be moving somewhere, right? We tend to injure our ankles when we're moving or stepping off a curb or stepping incorrectly. So we want to practice strengthening these muscles in a more ambulatory motion. So let's raise up onto your toes, and I want you to walk down. You can hold on to the counter if you need to, but we're going to stay on your tiptoes, walking down to the end of the counter, turn around safely, stay on those toes. If you need to reset, go for it, and then you're walking back. Okay, I'm going to do 2 laps down and back. On this way back, if you want to pick up that toe, if you feel like you can kind of take the next level up, you can take a step and lift that toe with every step. And this should not feel stable. As you can see, okay, I'm not 100% stable as we take these steps, and it should be difficult. Try to stay on your toes as long as you can. All right. But again, only do as much as you can while maintaining balance. If that muscle fatigues, you don't need to do this many repetitions, but you build up to it, right? You build up to it. Okay, 1 more step for me, and then we're going to come back down. Now we're going to be on your heels, raising those toes up. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more challenging. We are going to walk on your heels. Okay, you might need to lean forward a little bit on this one to help you maintain your balance. Okay, when we do this exercise with some of our clients, this might be the more difficult one because it's hard to keep those toes lifted. Okay, but really important one to do, again, to strengthen the front side of that shin. I'm going to take 1 more lap, down and back. And if you feel like those steps are really short like this, okay, try to lengthen that stride a little bit, okay? Try to make that stride big, but that's not the major emphasis. The major emphasis is just to keep those toes elevated, all right? Very nice. All right, shake those feet out a little bit and kind of circle them out. Okay, Okay, very, very nice. Now, let's go into some more dynamic stepping motions, okay, more held positions. So when we're talking about building more stability in your ankle, holding positions is one of the better ways to do that. Okay? If you step forward and you step right back, that doesn't require a lot of stability, right? Speed, I say, will always mask stability in these exercises, in any exercise. So we're going to take a lunge step forward. Now, the bigger the step, the harder it is for the balance, and the more it's going to challenge your ankles. All right. So take a big step forward, as big as you can maintain independently or holding on to a counter. Okay. Most of your weight should be in that front foot. All right. And you might feel that knee kind of wavering a little bit side to side. That's okay. That's your ankle and your knee stabilizer really working to maintain your balance. And that's our goal here, right? So if this is relatively easy, you can start doing some reaching motions or punches across your body. That's always going to make things a little bit more challenging. Okay, I'm going to go 2 more punches to each side and then switch legs. Okay, so stepping forward, and again, you might notice one foot might be a little bit stronger than the other. Again, most of your weight should be on that front leg, on that front foot. Your heel should be on the ground. Your big toe should be on the ground. Your posture should be up nice and tall. But most of your weight is here on that front leg. You can do some reaches. I'm going to do 8 reaches. There's 2 reaching up overhead. That's going to be a little bit harder. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we'll step back. Okay. Now I want to step to the side. So we can your ankle moves in all directions, right? We want to work on improving stability up and down here, but then also laterally in and out this way. So what you can do now is take a lunge step out to the side, get your hip over onto that side. All right. So get your hip and your shoulder over that knee out. So I'm going to come a little bit closer toward the midline here so you can see that. I want my hip right over that ankle and my shoulder right over my hip, and hold that position. Okay. One way to make these things a little bit more difficult is from these positions, you can roll the ankle in and out, in and out, or toe, heel, heel. All different ways to challenge your balance and these ankles a little bit more. Now I'm going to step over with my left leg out to the side and hold it there. Okay, keep that posture tall. Again, this does require a little bit of balance in your hips and the rest of your lower body as well. Not just about the ankles, but everything has to work together. All right, you can roll out and in, out and in. And this is one of the really important reasons to do these with bare feet, because if you had your shoes on, this would be probably a pretty difficult thing to do. Your shoe would just be moving around. It wouldn't be your ankle as much. Toe to heel here. I'm raising back onto my heel and forward onto my toes. You can keep the hands on the hips if you need to. One more time, toes and heels. Good. Come back up. Now I do have a balance pad here. Okay. So this is something, I'll put a link to this below the video where you can get one of these off Amazon. They cost around $20. It's just an unstable surface. And anytime you create more instability in your ankle, the harder the muscles have to work. So the more strength and stability that you're going to build. If you ever notice walking on pavement is a lot easier than walking through the grass, right? More instability. So if some of these exercises we've done so far have been pretty easy for you, having one of these balance mats at home isn't a bad idea to challenge yourself a little bit more. So let's do that lunge exercise, that forward lunge. I'm going to have you step forward. If you have that pad, okay, you can step onto it just like so. And again, the more weight you put on that ankle, you can kind of see in my ankle kind of moving a little bit, a lot more than it did on the ground, right? So great tool to have to really address a little bit more instability in that ankle. Okay, let's step back. We're going to take a step forward with the opposite leg. All right. Very good. See, the ankle's moving quite a bit. It should. Okay. Again, hold on to something if you need it. All right. Again, holding this 10 deep breaths. If you want to reach some punches in there, go slow. We don't want to be fast. Again, it's not going to require you to move your balance a whole lot and require that ankle to work harder. Slow, controlled movements is what's going to help you build more stability. Okay. You can do the same thing with that side lunge. We won't for today's video, but definitely go through, do that on the lateral motions as well. A couple more exercises for you. We're going to go single leg step ups on the box. So most of us have stairs at home. I don't suggest doing this on a book. I would suggest doing it either on an aerobic step that's firmly on a solid surface or on a stair where you have a railing to hold on to. So what you can do is just simply take a step up, hold that balance on that one step, and come right back down. I'm going to do 8 of these. So you want to maintain that balance at the top of that stand. Hold on to that railing if you need to. Here's 3, all the way up and down and up. That's 4 and down, up, 5 and down, up, 6 and down, up, 7 and down, up, 8 and down. Let's switch legs. Okay, one leg might be a little stronger than the other. Okay, but this is now going into more of a functional balance drill, right? We have to go upstairs, we have to go up on curbs. It's important to have good ankle stability because this is oftentimes a place where we lose that stability. So let's step up and down. That's 1. Up and down. We want to use that leg that's on top of that step, not the downward leg. You don't want to push up off of here. Push up off that forward leg. Up and down. Up and down. Got 4 more. Good. Up and down. 2 more. All the way up. Down. One last one. Very good. Another one, if you feel comfortable doing so, is stepping down off the step. Usually coming down a stair is a little bit harder than going upstairs. We do that pretty often. But using that muscle in the opposite motion going down, a little bit more difficult. All right. So standing on it, like maybe go up 1 stair, hold on to that railing, and really slowly go down to that next step. Or if you want to do this at the top of the stairs and you feel comfortable and safe going downstairs, hold on to the railings and just go slow. If you have an aerobic step, turn around before you go back up. Or you can just hold one ankle up here, tap down, back up again, tap down, back up. All right, just like so. So rather than going through a full workout with you guys today, I'm giving you ideas and you find which of those exercises is going to be most difficult for you. Last and final exercise, certainly the most challenging, is single leg balance, right? When do we have to use single leg balance? Well, when you're going to make a turn, you got to go here. That's balancing on 1 foot, right? Or going up a stair, or having to step in one direction and change direction. That's a lot of single leg stability. But we want to be dynamic with that single leg stability. Just standing here, if that's difficult for you, great. But try to do something else that forces your body to move, because we're always typically moving in different planes of motion when you're going to do said movement throughout the day, right? So you're going to balance on 1 foot. If you need to tap that back toe behind you, that's okay, all right? We're just wanting to progressively build that stability. So hold that balance there, but I want you to reach. And again, if you need to hold on to something, okay, hold on to that countertop, but try to balance on that 1 foot. Okay, I'm just going to reach with the wire. I'm going to alternate side to side. Okay, if you don't need anything to hold on to, definitely don't, but make sure that you feel safe and comfortable doing so. All right, I always pick my right leg first because it's a little bit easier for me. So next time, challenge yourself to start with the weaker side first. Okay, switch legs, and we're going to practice that same thing. So you want equal pressure, big toe and heel, and you're kind of push that arch of your shoe or the arch of your foot right here down into the ground as you're maintaining that balance. Kind of feel all the pressure down through all of your toes and every single part of your foot. That's going to help you build up that ankle stability. You can work some reaches in there. We call this single leg balance with some perturbations. So forcing your body to move in different directions as you're trying to maintain that balance. Really, really helpful to help build stability in your ankle and overall balance. All right. So those are a few good balance exercises for you, essential to build ankle stability, strength to help improve your gait and your balance. So I hope these exercises were helpful. Please leave your comments and let us know what we can do to make these videos more helpful to you. Again, Eric Johnson from Movement Revolution. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.